All right, so welcome back. We've got a lot of fun today. So today's topic is the struggle is real. And we're going to be digging into digital media, digital marketing, and kind of the journey and all the struggles and triumphs and tribulations and all the issues that we have along the way. So again, I'm Jeff Beggins here at Central 21.
Mike Puma.
And in the middle here, we have a special guest named
Jessica Beggins. How are you guys doing?
So Jessica is an interesting person.
With an interesting background of how I got into this business.
Yeah,
Right?
and so Jessica's my niece, and so poor Jessica has a tough road because she's stuck with the pressure from her Uncle Jeff here, and her brother Craig, and Grandpa Jim, and Grandma Vicky, and everybody in real estate pumping in through her brains, which, contrary to everybody else's belief, gives her the toughest job in the real estate industry.
Yeah.
She gets more crap and pressure and advice in different directions than probably anybody else, and that's why she wants to quit more than anybody else. And she does well, and she kicks it and does it. So we wanted to bring her on for a few different reasons. Number one, she's really been doing a great job of going through the struggle, right? That's probably the best way to say it, and not giving up and pushing through. So what we want to kind of work today is from an agent standpoint, we're going to walk through kind of how this happened. This is only a 9-month journey, right? From the first post Jessica did was 9 months ago for her business creation, to fast forward to where we are today and kind of where we're going to go for the future from here. That's kind of what we're going to do for you guys. So kind of start this out. I'll kind of start the story from 9 months ago because this was kind of fun. Mike and I were driving back from a meeting in Miami, and we were getting across Alligator Alley and driving across the state, and Jessica was here in the Tampa office, and she was about to have a first-time home buyer seminar, right? In-person invite, and you promoted that. You wanted people to come.
Discount loans, and they paid money for food. We had the whole thing. We had wine and beer and cheese and sandwiches and little roll-ups from Publix. We did the whole thing. We spent a lot of money.
And how many people were supposed to show up there?
I thought maybe 20 people would show up.
Because you got great responses, RSVPs.
We had RSVPs.
Yeah, I had RSVPs. I had people messaging me. They were so excited to come, and
So Jessica's excited and nervous and pumped and crazy. What time was that supposed to start?
I think it started at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. is about right, because we were cruising down Alligator Alley, and it was a little after 6.
Yeah, I think I did it on a Wednesday night at 6 p.m. thinking that people would get off work and, stop by for some food.
And then the meltdown began.
Yeah.
So we're on
My
speed.
dad warned me too. He said, if you're going to hold an event, expect probably half of the people that were supposed to come to
That's
show
right. From the traditional live forecast. Because let's be realistic. Everybody has their life.
Yeah.
And to really get here is a commitment. And you're fighting against the rest of their life to kind of get here. So here's Jessica, fired up, dressed up, ready to do her first time home buyers. Got the loan officers here. Everybody's ready to go.
Yep, I had credit repair people here that I had just met from a home partners program the week before. I was like, hey, I'm doing this first time home buyers class. I've got people coming. Would you guys like to join in and be part of this? And they said, yeah, of course.
So I'll tell you the story from my lens, and you can throw it back from yours in a second. So Mike and I are driving across, and you're on speakerphone, and I won't say the words that were coming out of your mouth. They weren't very happy. And it was, this sucks, and nobody showed up, and I can't, what a waste of time. There was frustration, embarrassment, anger, pissed offness, all kinds of things rolled into one. And she's like, I quit, I'm going to go back in hospitality. Right? All these different things go through your brain. And then we're like, no, that's not what we're going to do. I said, did you say you have wine there? And she's like, yes, I do. I said, did you have any yet? She's like, nope. I said, all right, here's what we're going to go do. You remember this?
Yep.
So go pour yourself a glass of wine and chug it. Not sip it, chug it.
Yep.
And then you're going to go turn your phone on, sitting right there.
Yep.
And you're going to pretend like that room is full. Right? And you're going to dazzle it, you're going to do your show, and you're going to do what you prepared. We're going to bring in the credit people, we'll bring in the loan people, mortgage people, and rather than have 12 people show up, there's nobody going to be there, but nobody will know the difference, and just compose it, hold it together, rock it, do it, make it happen.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, and boy did I not want to do that.
So what was going through your brain from from your
You
perspective.
pushed back from every angle.
I
on
pushed
us,
back
yes,
from
you did.
every angle. I was like, no way, this is stupid. No one's gonna watch it. No one came. I don't want to bother with this. I just want to go home.
I
Pretend
don't
this
have enough
never
battery
happened.
life in my phone or Facebook or Instagram. I don't know who's gonna hold it. Who's gonna hold the phone? I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it. Remember?
Oh,
Yep.
100%.
Yep. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
All she wanted to do.
There's every excuse in the book. I was waiting for her just to throw her phone against the ground. Like, oh, my phone broke. I can't do it.
That was coming, but the wine pounding happened first.
Yep. Why not?
So, what did you end up doing?
We ended up holding a Facebook Live event, is what it turned into,
Yeah.
and I think Dave Rogers from Discount Loans held up my phone during my portion of it, and I put the presentation on the screen just like I had if there were people there, and I started talking to this camera, and the only people in the room were Dave from Discount Loans. I think Chad Morris might have been there, and used credit repair people, and luckily my dad showed up. It was my one person,
You're
my one
fan.
guest. So yeah, I'm just talking to all these people who already know everything there is to know about real estate, and so I'm up there, you know, I'm a newbie, I've never talked about this before, no one's gonna trust me, I'm so embarrassed to do this in front of my dad who's the broker, and why am I even bothering? And I get up there and I'm shaking and I'm all nervous, and went through the whole video. We got Dave up there talking, he did the same thing I did, talk to an empty audience, and so did the credit repair people, and no one knew.
And then you turned it off. It was over.
We turned it off and we all celebrated and we all ate the food and drank and we were still happy that we did it, but
Now, hold on. When you did that,
yeah.
what was your expectation? How many people did you realistically, after you posted that video, did you think was going to actually watch and engage with
Good
it?
question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly don't think, I didn't really have an expectation. I had no idea what I was doing. This was the first Facebook Live video I had ever done.
And what do you remember roughly what your following count was on Facebook at the time where you posted that? Like how many friends, family did you have connected to your
Oh
page?
gosh, I think we posted it on my C2 on Jeff's business page, and I probably only had, you know, maybe 100 followers on there
100
or
people.
something.
All right. So 100 people. You didn't think you'd get very much, right? 100 people is not that many
Just
people.
did it. So whatever.
So
I think
okay.
what we did was we shared it to my personal page, which is how we got.
Okay. And how many people on the personal page?
I've probably got over 1,000 people.
1,000 people. All right. So we're talking 1,100 people, maybe. Your mind max reach,
Right.
right? Okay. And what happened? You
It
posted
was,
it.
yeah. Man, we posted it, and we had 550 views by the next day.
Yep.
And we were
So one day,
blown away.
550 people watched the video.
And they were commenting and they were liking it, and I was just absolutely could not believe what was
So what you
happening.
didn't know, in the car on the way back after hearing you said, Jessica doesn't realize that her whole career just pivoted
Mhm.
right this second. Remember that? We were
Yeah.
talking about you on the way back home because we knew what was going to happen and you didn't yet. And then as it's 100 views, 200, 300, 400, 500, and
Right.
you're like, oh my gosh. We're going to get to like 945, I think, by Friday.
Yeah.
I think is what the number
You know,
Yeah,
almost
it
hit
was-
1,000.
So that at least opened up a couple possibilities for your brain at least.
Mhm.
And what kind of responses did you get from that?
It was great. People messaged me and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I missed your class. When are you doing another one? You know, can you give me some more information about that Home Partners program? And so I definitely generated leads and interest from it.
So for those that are watching, what we're all about is taking you to your next level. Now, your next level might be, you've never done this before at all, right? So your next level is this first post,
Doing
right? What
what?
Jessica's talking about doing.
Mhm.
And so if you do, what advice do you have for the people who've never done one? Should they do it?
Absolutely, 100%. I
Yeah.
think that's where the world is going, and we'll pull it from Jared James. He says you should market how you consume. So if you are one of those people who sit on Facebook and you watch other people's videos, why wouldn't you create one? Because that's what you're interested in. You want those people to do the
That's
same
right.
thing. So 100%. Even if you're absolutely terrified like I was and I was completely embarrassed and just did it anyways, somebody is going to like it.
Say that again, because I think people need to know that just suck it up, because here's the reality.
Mhm.
Nobody remembers that video. It's still out there. No one's watching it. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. It's run its
But they
course.
could, which is cool. It stays around your, all
And
your
it's
content.
legacy, right? What I think is really cool, we're 9 months out, right? I think it'd be really fun for you to go back and watch that first video.
Oh
right?
God.
You should.
Oh,
I like to do it. Like, we'll go back. I mean, we've been producing content now for a while. I love to go back and watch our original
first
stuff
ones,
compared to now, because not only has the equipment changed and obviously we get more comfortable and everything kind of adapts, but to watch where you come from, and now, depending on the language, because we cussed a lot in the beginning, we've gotten better now. I love for my kids to watch it, right? And so now I'm thinking long term for me, 20, 30 years down the road, how cool is it that if you have kids, right, they're going to be able to see how mom got her career started.
Yeah,
right?
you can watch the
It's
growth.
this legacy thing that I think is really cool place.
So let's go back to the progression. This is about the journey, right? So that we set into motion. Hey, this might not be full of crap. This might actually work, right? Let's do some more. But you resisted like mad.
Yeah,
right? And
everyone says post once a week, and I would post once every 3 weeks, and Mike and Jeff would come to the office and be like, wow, slacker, you haven't done anything in weeks.
Yeah, it's your phone broken, you must be too rich. You have too much business, you don't want any more. What's going on? I haven't seen you in a
What's
long
happening?
time.
No video?
Yeah.
Your phone not work?
Yeah,
There's a little
remember?
play button on there. Oh yeah.
So we went through the process, and so we tried different things, right? Because there's no exact science here. What you're doing is throwing out content to educate people, throw out knowledge so you can kind of help them do what they do.
Yeah, I'm
So-
still figuring it out.
And you always will be.
Right.
Because and everything changes, and attention changes, and where they're going changes. So let's talk about what you did next. Because you did a few different varieties of different posts, and you tried it, and some you liked, some you didn't, some worked, some you didn't, some you got engagement, some less, some more. But it doesn't matter because you got the eyeballs out there, and people are thinking about you when they think about real estate, which is what this whole game is about, guys. It's just becoming top of mind. I joke all the time about if you have somebody who does your hair, right? And think about that. Who does your hair? The quick recall you have on that one person, they own that filing cabinet in your brain under hairstylists. So all we're doing this for is to make sure that you own the real estate cabinet, right? File, folder, in their brain. That's all you need to do. So, but they're not going to do it unless you become top of mind. You can't be top of mind unless they see you, and they're not going to see you unless you do something to show it, right? So let's talk about what you did next. Let's talk about a few different things that you did, and take them through that journey.
Yeah, so the next thing that I did, I think I was too nervous to be on camera by myself, so I wanted to pull people in with me, and they hated it too, because no one wants to be on video, it's terrifying. So I did have, it's terrifying. I had Dusty from the Florida Building Inspection Group interview with me about different types of inspections, as if you were the buyer, what to expect. I think that was probably one of my bigger hits, and it was fun interviewing someone. I think that was really good content. Buyers don't know this stuff. They don't know what WDO means. So being that realtor that can explain that to them, and once again being top of mind by having that video out there, I think is huge.
And really, you want to be the resource, right? You want anytime I don't care if their air conditioning goes out, it's attached to their house. I want them to call you, right? That your friends need to know that that's your tribe. You got their back, and you're everything real estate. You are right to them. So
I started with inspections. Who else did I bring in? I brought in Ashley from our relocation department to talk about our military relocation program that we have. And that day we had some Navy Federal and USAA representatives with us, and I got them on video. So that was just one more resource I was putting out to buyers and said, hey, we have this option for you. So I was trying to pull in everyone that I could that were different resources, and I tried not to repeat myself with who I was bringing in. Just to let people know that I was their real estate go-to, whether. And
this was still just Facebook at this stage, right? You're just getting into Facebook Live.
And I think it's important to note, though, that if you really take a step back and think about what you were doing, you're building brand, right? And you're painting yourself as an expert. And I think that's what's really important for anyone that hasn't taken this leap yet. And I mentioned this at the last Vegas University. I think for people that have been in the business for a while, right, 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, 20 years, whatever, they sometimes get comfortable, right? It's human nature. We get comfortable in what we're doing and how we're driving our business. And I think it's really important to note that within these first couple of videos, how long have you been in the business?
3 years this month. Actually.
3 years this month. So at that point, a little over 2 years.
A little over 2 years, and I was working with a partner too. So this was really, I had only been working by myself for maybe 3 months. At this time.
2+ years in the business, and you're bringing value, big word, bringing value, not trying to sell people stuff, right? And you automatically started painting yourself as an expert, and anyone watching that would have never known. You can go back and watch her videos. No one would have ever known she was 2 years in business, right? That's the point that I'm trying to make with all the agents is this is a different world. The playing field has been leveled.
Right.
We can take a brand new agent. If you're new, there shouldn't be anything stopping you from doing this.
Bring someone
really
else in with you. And
absolutely. You can paint yourself.
have them do all the talking. Just be next to them and be that realtor name that's involved with it, and you'll look like you know what you're doing.
And I think it's really important for the non-newbies that are been doing this for a long time. You got to get your shit straight.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say that, right? Because a new person can come over and take over your market before you even know it. So if you don't need to let that happen. Go do what we're talking about, and now you take your experience and leverage it with the digital tools that we're talking about today. Now you become the master and you become untouchable. So this is a call to action for those 5, 10, 20, 25, 30-year veterans that we have in our business do, right? Step it up. It's not hard.
No,
it's
terrifying.
terrifying.
It's terrifying.
But you go through the terror barrier, and it's kind of fun on the other side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
All right, so you got the comfort zone. Your drunk monkey got you a little comfortable having somebody else talk next to you, so you were kind of easing into it. And then you said, all right, I'm going to do some on my own. So what else did you do? What were some other types of posting we did?
Next step, some other things that I did was I went to Virginia Park was an area that I farmed with, papers. Once a month I would go in and deliver market knowledge. So I decided that I was going to do it socially. And I went and stood in front of the Virginia Park sign and had Susie video me, and I was, we had so many takes. I was like, nope, that one's not going to do it again.
Notice she was not going live here. She was doing take 23, take 24.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Was there wine involved in this shooting too?
Definitely wine involved in this shooting too.
You like to reel the rawness of this.
Yeah, and there were cars zooming by, and just the audio is terrible, but I did it anyways, and I delivered market statistics to Virginia Park and said how many homes had sold in the last month and what the average price per square foot was selling, just to put knowledge out there. So it was a little bit different than what I was doing before, but once again, it was just showing people that I had that knowledge, and I was trying to prove that.
And this is before you really got into targeting just that neighborhood.
Yes.
Right? And now it's evolved a lot more, so you can actually just pinpoint. Like some of the things we're doing, but targeted for neighborhoods right now, are just results are just ridiculous, right? So, but this is just kind of the evolution, guys. You got to try all this stuff and see what works. So, you're standing there in front of Virginia Park, and then what are some other ones that you've done? Then what did you kind of evolve into?
I think I only did a couple of those. I don't know why. I just wasn't feeling it. I think they're a great idea. I think I got nervous.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
I want to stop there. That's a good point. Never do anything you're not 100% comfortable doing, right? So I say that all the time.
But with the caveat, you're not going to be comfortable when you start.
Correct. But I mean, don't. So let me rephrase it.
I feel like it wasn't my business style.
Exactly, and that's my point. Don't do anything just because you think it's going to get views, right?
You have to be passionate about it,
right?
And people are going to notice when
genuine, congruent, sincere, because they're going to smell it. They'll smell bullshit from miles away.
Oh,
so you gotta be in it, you gotta love the neighborhood, you gotta be passionate about it, or they're gonna say, oh, there's just somebody trying to take my business.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a very type C thing to do. It was very analytical to stand there with cars driving by while I'm trying to remember the numbers off the top of my head because I didn't want to hold a paper in front of me.
Right.
And so for some of you that might be a great idea because you can remember all the numbers, and that's your favorite thing about real estate is being able to provide market statistics to people, which I think is where you could build your whole business around that.
Now, this is an interesting point. I'll pause here too, because we learn a lot, and we constantly grow and evolve as people, as salespeople, especially in our organization. So when you go live or when you go start to do something like this, when Jessica's talking about the analytical nature wasn't very comfortable for her. She can do it, it's just not what she enjoys, right? Which is something I think we need to be cognizant about, because do you know who's going to be watching your content? Everybody, right? So you got two choices here. You can just say, screw it, I'm just going to go be me and just attract or repel, and that works well, and it's easier to do that if you can do it on a grand scale.
Right.
Or you want to be strategic. If you really have a smaller pool of people to work from, you want to be as attractive as you can to all of them, right?
Right.
So by putting some strategy out there, knowing some people that live in that area, that niche, are high D personalities, some are high I's, some are high S's, some are high C's, some are visually in representational strategy, visual, auditory, kinesthetic.
Right.
Now with the skills that you know now, you can go into neutral and actually plan your pitch and make sure that you're adjusting and relating to every one of them.
But I think it's important to note, and you 100% can. I think one of the big things that stops people though in their tracks very early on is, regardless of which of those two methods you pick, you're gonna have people that just don't mesh. Right? They don't like the content.
Right.
Maybe they had a bad day and they see your video and they make a comment that you suck, right? It's gonna happen the more you put yourself out there, and I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna hurt, right? You're gonna be like, oh man, and it's gonna, if you're new at this, for a lot of people, it makes them not want to do it, right? Because they can't get over what Susie Pants 44 commented on the video. You have to get over that. You just gotta realize that when you're building content and putting stuff out there to the masses, it's just part of the process. You're gonna have some haters that just don't like it. Who cares, right? You need to move past that, and that's easier said than done.
Let's dig further into that, because what I think we need to do is expose the haters quickly and totally get rid of them, right? Because you're going to attract and you're going to repel naturally, no matter what.
Right.
So the other part of this thing is go out there and be you, right? And attract the people that want to do business with you.
Because then you'll have more fun, because they're like you.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And then there are some people that like the strategy of mixing all the different blends in, because it'll appeal to more. And that's a different level, that's a different strategy. And some like that, some don't. It's a beautiful thing about being an independent contractor. You can pick what works for you. But I think you really need to be very clear to the fact that you're going to quickly only attract the followers that like your style, and you're going to get unsubscribed and unfriended and unfollowed by those who don't. And that's fan-freaking-tastic.
Right.
Because why waste your energy on people that don't want to see what you do?
Yeah.
Right? So just, because how many deals do you really need a month to get to the goals that you want?
I don't know, 2?
Right now, 2 for this quarter. In this price point gets you where you need to be. Then once you start going as your 5-year plan goes into your 4, 5, 6 a month.
Right.
That's a month. 4 or 5, that's 1 a week. I mean, come on. That's not hard to do.
Right.
When you scale this thing up and reach it. So you don't need to get everybody to want to do business with you. You need to get 1 person a week that wants to do business with you.
Right.
And so if you really scale it down and simplify this one, that's a simple, attainable goal.
Yep.
And because you don't know when real estate, the fun thing about real estate to me is that nobody can be talked into doing it. Right? It's only when life happens will they do it. So the whole game is just being top of mind.
That's why you're not selling them anything when you do these videos. You're just providing resources and being top of mind so that they think of you when they're ready, because like you said, you can't make someone buy or sell a house.
And then we started doing tips and tricks. So talk about what happened in your brain there to make that happen.
I think I was just starting to maybe watch other people on Instagram and who had, hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're all doing tips and tricks. So I said, okay, well, let me try this out. I've gotten good feedback from it. I just did one last week. What was it? The top 5 FAQs from buyers, and I did top 5 FAQs from sellers. And I've done how to win an FHA over cash offers, and I've done kinds of all sorts of different topics, trying to, I guess I am mostly going towards buyers, but I think that is what my sphere is on my social. I'm 25. I think most of my friends are also 25 and buying their first homes, and so me putting out all of my content on social media is going to be to those people that I think that they are looking to buy.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because that's your tribe.
That's my tribe.
That's your comfort zone, and that's what you know.
Right.
So it's natural to go there. That's absolutely the place everyone should go, is where your tribe is, where you're comfortable, where you're natural. Now, you have skill set to reach out to your friends' parents, too, if you want.
Yes.
But I think an interesting switch here, and let's rewind for a second, because you just started talking about Instagram, right?
Yes.
We started the journey out on Facebook, and then we started integrating Instagram in. I think that warrants discussing the switch and the pros and cons of the different platforms. And Mike, you kind of chime in a little bit about this too. So when did you switch? Why did you start adding Instagram in, and when did you do that? Why?
I think without knowing it, it was because I spent most of my time on Instagram.
Yep.
I didn't ever scroll through Facebook, so without knowing the whole idea behind you should market how you consume, I just kind of started doing that because that's where I spent most of my time. So I said, oh, well, I should post on Instagram more because that's where I am.
Perfect. That goes back to the tribe and comfort zone, and that's where your target market is. Right? But if you're going to be targeting first-time home buyers in that age range and that price point, that's where.
And I think that's the big caveat. For me, it was interesting at the last Vegas University. I asked people how many people in the room consume social, right? Not Instagram, Facebook, just social media in general, whatever platform they want. How many consume it personally? And almost everyone raised their hand. I said, how many use it every day for business? And 90% of the hands dropped, right? And so I think that the one caveat with that, though, is you have to be careful of falling into the trap of only going where you consume. Because the reality is social media is bigger than just Instagram or Facebook, right? Now Facebook and Instagram own that category pretty heavily, but the reality is that there's YouTube, there's Pinterest, and
Twitter,
Snap is still around,
Snapchat,
Twitter, and there's more coming, right, all the time. So I would look at it though as those are all distribution channels, right? They're just channels. It's all they are. They're networks. And there's different viewers on different networks. There's different viewers on ESPN, right? Than who are watching Grey's Anatomy. Different demos, right? So you need to understand as an agent where that demo is and what business are you going after. If you're only really focused on 25-year-olds who are first-time home buyers, I would spend a bulk of my time on Instagram, which is now what you're doing, right? But you need to understand that if you get a listing, right, that is on a golf course, is heavily geared towards a 50-year-old, man, well, he's on Facebook, right? He's not on Instagram. So you have to be smart about your strategy. Don't get caught in the fact that, I never use Facebook, so it's dead. It's not the reality. The reality is it's just a different demographic.
Which is interesting. I'm glad you guys reminded me of it because I have only been focusing on Instagram to the point where my Facebook dings me and says, hey, you have 333 people that haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh,
that's right.
I should post on there forever.
But here's the fun thing. That's okay. If you want to abandon that niche, you can. If you focus on the one that you want and it's producing. But just to Mike's point, I think it's really important that if the marketing is beautiful. So the people that market on CNBC are totally different than the ones that market on Nickelodeon. Right? It's a completely different world. I think everybody needs to remind yourself about that. Well, where are you going after? If you want inventory, you're going after the people who own homes. And people sell homes on average every 5-7 years, right? Yep. So these are the people that bought 5 or 7 years ago, and their highest peak earning years are 40, 45 years. Well, so how old are they and where are their eyeballs? That's where you need to be.
I think the other thing of that is, just as an example, if I was in charge of marketing for Chevy, right? It's not to say that I wouldn't advertise on Nickelodeon, or Nick's probably a bad example, but let's just use ESPN and then running airtime during prime time during Grey's Anatomy.
You like Grey's Anatomy, huh?
Right? Yeah, you must like Grey's Anatomy.
It's my wife's favorite show.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go with that.
They all say.
No, I'm just saying, prime time, right? Let's do this. Heavy male, heavy female audience, right? Okay. I'm going to advertise on both if I'm Chevy, right? I'm just going to advertise differently on both. And that's the other important thing. And that's where I think a lot of, not just agents, businesses in general, really struggle because they're going to take that same truck commercial they ran on ESPN and they're going to run it during Grey's Anatomy and they're missing the boat. Yeah. It's not that the audience isn't there. The audience is just different. They're consuming differently. Right. So I think you need to be very conscious of who's the audience, right, on each platform. Do I want them is the big question. If you do, then you can't ignore them, but you also need to speak to them, right? And not try and give the same stuff that you're doing on Instagram. It's probably not going to work on that Facebook audience. It's just not, right? It needs to be tailored. So,
and it's kind of cool because both Facebook and Instagram, or whatever platform you're using, if it's for a business purpose, gives you those insights. So you can see how old your audience is, you can see how heavily it is male or female, and you can see how many people are watching it and where they're watching it from. So you can keep track of those things. I think it's really important to do that.
No, that's an interesting evolution though.
Yes.
Because this is talking about how we take steps, right, in our business.
Yeah.
She went from not posting at all, terrified, to posting regularly, finding content that her audience engaged with.
She went from nothing to terrified to posting to not posting regularly.
Yes.
To getting a bunch of crap from us.
Yep.
To post more regularly.
Right.
Right, and then still is not doing it regularly.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Right. Not enough.
But in marked improvement over last month and the month before, and the month before, and the month before. But that's important to know. You're not perfect. You don't have it all figured out.
No.
You're just better than you were 9 months ago.
But she's paying attention to things that matter in those worlds now, right?
Yes.
She went from not posting to now, 9 months later, paying attention to demographically who's watching, right? And how are they consuming, and what are so?
I can tell you that
and
55% of my audience is women, and 45, does that add up? 45 is men, and they're from ages 25 to 34 is my audience.
So that's huge.
Let's take that. So how would you now pitch that message to that audience? It's different than pitching to 65-year-old men.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally.
Everything.
100%.
Attitude, energy, visuals, verbiage, background,
everything.
message.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
Everything's different.
Or you could just go, put the same Chevy commercial out and hope somebody grabs it. But why would you even waste the time when it just takes a couple extra minutes to think?
Right.
Right? And go into neutral. We always talk about it, right? Hit slip into neutral, figure out who your audience is, and step into their world.
Yep.
Right?
But I think the way that you've gone about it is really important, because I think this is where people get caught up. I think we have a lot of people who like to read headlines, and then they use that to make business decisions, which is a terrible idea. So I think you have a lot of agents out there that are starting, they posted one video, and they're like, oh, well, people didn't engage, so I don't know, I've read a headline that Facebook isn't working, and so I probably shouldn't do it. And you start coming up with excuses, right? That's all you're doing. You're using all this stuff to create excuses. My opinion, doing the way you did it, where you just got over the fear of posting and started posting. Then, when you started getting more serious about it and got comfortable with just posting, then you started worrying about the more detailed stuff of who's watching, where, why, how. And I think that's important. So the punchline is, if you haven't started, just go do. Right?
Just do it, and then you'll find it from there. It'll just
you'll figure it out, because that's how you learned, right?
Yeah,
you learn by doing it. That's the only way you're going to learn this, is just do it. I mean, yes, you can watch social media experts, you can listen to idiots like me tell you what to do, but the reality is you're not going to learn it unless you just go do it.
Yeah, you got to do it.
And I think it's important to know that wine pretty much fueled this entire journey.
Thank you, wine.
You may want to invest in wine prior to doing it, so you can make some money off of that.
So let's talk about where you see this going for your particular business. Because one thing Mike said, you can talk to social media gurus or watch YouTube videos till you're dead. It's irrelevant. Here's the punchline. The bottom line is, figure out your audience and say something to them so you become top of mind. That's it. You don't need to watch any more videos.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
You can say, wow, look how cute this dog is.
With your Century 21 logo on.
That's it.
And that means you're talking about real estate.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is C21Jets. So if I post about dogs and people see C21, it still hits them that I'm in real estate.
And I think the branding is great too. C21 Jess, you're taking that persona on.
I'm really trying to do the branding. I think that's important. Mike Southward's doing a good job. His guy has a little dog, so you see it, you're like, oh, there's Mike.
Zeus.
So I think it is kind of fun to have one thing that triggers. So when people are just kind of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, if you have a certain theme that you're following with, people are like, oh, yeah, that's Jessica's post. Oh, there it is again, or, And
it just means real estate when they see your face, and then you win.
Yes.
Right. So where do you see this evolution going next step for you? What's the next level in Jess's digital marketing journey?
The next level in my digital marketing journey. I have been listening to a lot of podcasts, so I guess I listen to a lot of people like Mike. But I think this is I'm trying to get a lot more personal with it, to bring people into my life and see how I'm living in Tampa and introduce that idea to my followers of why they should be in Tampa and why they should trust me. So not only am I going to post tips about buyers and sellers, but I would also like to start doing things of why Armature works or why Boca or just local restaurants, museums. I kind of want to capture what Tampa is to me and why I like it. And I think I will start attracting people through that. And I'm really excited about this.
So let's talk about that for a second, because you've got to go back to who is the target audience.
Yes.
And what do you want? Because you can't get everybody. It's impossible.
Right.
You don't need everybody.
And everyone's target audience is going to be a little bit different. When I look at mine and it's 25 to 34-year-olds, a lot of them are first-time home buyers. And the way that I've been kind of thinking about it is, if I capture them now as first-time home buyers, I can really relate to them. I'm in their shoes. And then if I keep in touch with them and I stay top of mind and I do a really good job for them, when they are going to sell their house and move up to a bigger one because they just had a baby, or, you know, if they get married and need a bigger house, they're hopefully going to come back to me. And so not only will I be helping them buy their first home, but I'll be helping them sell their first home and then buy their second home. And I think this could be a business that I'm growing with my clients the whole way.
That's right. And you're tapping into their tribe.
Yeah.
And you do a great job when you're with your customers. So you're going to get the repeat referral business, just going to keep growing. We had an agent who used to work for us. She's retired now, but she was always joking about how when she started in the business, she started with the cheaper houses.
Yeah, some people are like, oh, why are you working so hard for those little deals? But they're my friends and they love me, and I do just as good of a job for them as I did with my $1 million listing that we went to auction with. I've done all platforms, but I think I just can really relate to that age group because that's who I am. So it's kind of fun that way, and all of you are going to have a different audience that
what this agent said was, she goes, I got them when they were here, then as time went by, they got rich, and I got rich with them.
Right.
Right? And so I think this is a long-term horizon strategy, which is totally different than any other generation has ever experienced in this industry.
Right.
And it's going to be about collecting and grabbing your tribe, and there's no reason for them never to go.
Right.
Because you're going to be integrated into their life as top of mind.
I'm going to have kids with them and dogs with them, and I'm going to buy houses with them, and it's all just hopefully create a tribe.
And it works, right? But you have a very clear vision on what that goal is, and now if you're patient enough, right, to actually execute on it and not get distracted with the squirrel syndrome, right? then you'll be able to grow that. I think the one thing that a lot of agents struggle with is that commitment to it, right? Because they think that's what they want, but then they get very distracted and it's taking longer than they thought, and they don't really want to wait the 5 to 10 years to 15 years to 20 years that it's really going to take to get for those people to mature enough to get to that price point, and so they start moving off into these other paths.
Yeah.
Right? Look at that shiny new listing over there, and then
they
you
see
forget
other
to
friends
post
doing
for 3
faster,
weeks,
right?
and then you start slacking, and then you lose your tribe.
But what they don't see is that other person in their office who's doing $1 million deal every 2, 3, 4 months, his business is doing this, and really doesn't have a stable business. But they see that all they're really paying attention is that one time where they do get the sale and they get that commission check. Right? They're not seeing the big picture, which is fine. There's businesses build their business off that. But I think the punchline of it is you have to know what result do you want, right? Who's the audience? What result do you want now and long term? And then build your business that way. Nike didn't say, "Hey, we're going to start going this company, and then we're going to maybe do shoes, and then we might go do this, and then No, they built their name in shoes, and then once they had all the attention, then they expanded and grew.
And they screwed it all up in one day this week.
Well, they got $40 million in free advertising. I don't think they screwed anything. That's important for, Jess obviously has a very clear vision. If you're watching, you need to understand why you're doing it and how you're doing it.
And I think that's huge. And I didn't really realize this purpose of why I was doing this. I just started because everyone said, hey, you need to post on social media. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll post on social media. Yeah. But then I did start listening to these podcasts and these really influential people who have grown a business from the ground up on Instagram or social media in general. Yeah. And they all say, what is your purpose and who is your audience? So that's the first thing you have to figure out.
Yeah. And don't deviate and commit to it and be it, own it, drink it, eat it.
Yeah.
Sleep it, breathe it, everything.
Yes.
That's content-wise, very clear vision of what you're doing.
Yes.
From my perspective, my advice to you as the next level, how do you get uncomfortable posting? Okay, I think number one, you need to post more regularly than you do right now. I think you know that.
Yes.
I would be paying
On
attention
all platforms.
on all platforms, and that's the thing. I think now you need to start paying attention to. This isn't advice for everyone, right? If you're not even posting on one platform,
Post on one platform. Even if it's the same post and you put it on 3 paid places.
If you're in just a situation where you're posting and it's kind of working and now you're ready to take that next level, you need to start now focusing on frictionless consumption, right? Because the reality is, even in your 25 to 34-year-old demographic, right, that you're owning, those individuals are consuming content differently, right? Some are going to consume via voice, via podcast. Some are going to watch videos. Some are going to read, right? There's all different people. So the more that you can create content in those different variables, the more success you're going to have, right? It's the reason that we do all that we do. It's not because we love putting hours and hours of extra work into this, but the reality is we want people to be able to consume us in any way that they want. You want to listen to it? Cool. Listen to the audio, right? When you're at the gym, driving, whatever, that's cool. You want to watch our video? Awesome. We love it. You want to watch us live? We really appreciate that. You want to go read the article we just put on LinkedIn, which was your dad talking about, single agency? Great. Go do that, right? That's the next evolution for you, is to take the content, right? You in Tampa Bay and why you love it, and then distribute that into all forms of social, basically.
Yeah, you guys watch out. Keep posting, because I'm gonna keep doing this social stuff.
From the unclely advice over here. Right?
Unclely advice says you need to make money, and you posting on social media every day isn't giving it to you right now. So what are you doing to generate business right now?
No, I think what we need to do, you're doing it. I mean, it's great when you come in and you're like, I got 9 closings this month, right? That's good. Right? What you're doing is working, right? So that's what things. So the biggest thing I wish I could do is put blinders on you, and only thing you see is 25, 34 demographic. That's it, right? Because that's your world and you own it. But the minute you try to be something to the 40, 70-year-old in Sun City.
I'm working with a 73-year-old retired person from, he's in the Philippines right now.
You can't admit to it right now.
Sorry, everybody, I'm just telling you the truth.
No, this is real, because you're in the business.
I talk to him completely differently than I talk to my 25 to 34-year-olds.
Right, and it's still business. But what do you have more fun doing?
My 25 to 34-year-olds. I love it. I love working with you guys.
So this is our business, right? This is your business. You get to pick your ideal client, your ideal price point, your ideal situation, and do it. But if you don't commit to it and keep the blinders on and say, this is my lane, right? Sorry, 73-year-old Sun City guy, I love you. Go work with so-and-so, it's their lane. This is my lane. Right. Because you can commit to it and have your business be so fun, so easy, so frictionless, and just enjoyable that you're popping 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deals a month just in your lane. And then you know what content is consumed by them. You know what questions they have. You know the stories and the testimonials and the shares and their tribe. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But the biggest danger that I see from your uncle, from your coach, from your partner, from all this stuff here in this business is you get distracted. And it's not just you, it's you. It's everyone, right? And you have to struggle. The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
You got to look every morning and say, what is my schedule? What is my purpose? Who am I talking to? Commit to it and do not change it. You've got to say, this is it. These are my channels. Here's my message. Rock it out. Commit, talk, discuss, connect, make contacts, and you will have more business and you know what to do with.
Live it, breathe
people
it,
that you want.
sleep it, eat it, everything.
So that's advice to you and advice to you.
Yeah.
Now, just for fun, I want to get an update from you, kind of. So we know that you started 9 months ago, right?
Yes.
Roughly 3 years in the business. Year 1, how many deals did you do?
I don't even remember. Not very many, maybe 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
A whole year. I started in September of 2015. So I didn't have my first closing until it was either January or February of 2016. So it took me a couple months to actually get a sale. And then it was a very, very small paycheck.
Yeah.
And then my next one was my uncle, not this uncle, another uncle, that was my other house that I sold. What else happened? Not very many.
So
then I started working with
handful of deals.
Yeah, a handful
of deals. All right, year 2, so and doing zero social at that point, right?
Zero
social.
Yeah.
From business perspective. So now year 2. Okay. What did you do in year 2?
I sold. I think I was working with another agent at the time, Susie. We sold 27 houses, I think, last year.
Wow. Okay. And now adding social in.
Adding
so year
social
3, 9 months ago, we've added social.
So this year so far, I've closed 16 deals, and I have 3 pending right now, and a couple more coming.
By yourself.
By myself. Yeah. So it's a little bit.
So you're up.
So technically 26 divided by 2. I did 13 deals all year last year.
And you're at 19 already.
And you're at 19 already, 9 months in. Okay. Following was at about 100 people, right? Where are you at now?
Well, I'm so bad. I really only pay attention to Instagram, and I can tell you that in the beginning of this year, I was probably around maybe 400 or 500 followers, and I remember talking to you in March, and I was at like 650, and I just couldn't get past that 700, and I just hit 1,000 this week. So that was
congratulations. So you've in the last 9 months, we've almost doubled, right, in following. Now, I'm a big believer in following is somewhere relevant, right? But have you seen engagement go up? That's what I care about.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
and I can tell what I post and what people are liking and what they're not liking. So, I mean, even with 1,000 followers, sometimes I'll post something and I only get like 13 likes. I'm like, well, I won't do that again.
Okay.
And then, I can post another picture and I get 223 likes. So I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I gotta keep doing that.
Yep.
So I just go with the flow, and I change, and I look at what my followers want from me, the ones that do engage, and I try to keep creating content that they like. That I will stay on.
In the average video, I saw one of your videos recently, I think got up 1,500 views, right?
Yeah.
For free, guys. Like, no money.
I don't
money.
Post those. Yeah.
1,500 people, right? And the reality is I could come to most agents and say, hey, I'll go tell 200 people about your business today if you give me $100, and most of them will do it, right? But the reality is they could just be posting content, get thousands of views, and it'd be free.
That's right.
Right? And then if you really want to then build a business, then you can put a few dollars behind it and go from there. But
which is another interesting standpoint. I've done a couple open houses, and we post them on Realtor.com and Zillow and MLS and everything, but recently, if I do an open house, I've been doing the Facebook lead form ads, and I think one weekend I generated 5 leads from an open house. I think I spent $20, and I posted it, and you do it the right way. And then what I did is, because I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the video, is I embedded a video into an email, and so all of those leads that came in, I sent them a video email welcoming them to my open house and told them how I was excited to see them. And one of those people actually came in and was like, "Oh, you're the girl on the video." Wow, that was me.
Which is what it's all about.
So I'm trying to incorporate a lot of different things. I'm trying to make it work, and that's all I can tell you guys to do is just try everything, and just if you haven't done that first post yet, you gotta do it.
I think the evolution is clear, right? And how quickly it happens. We're 9 months in, right? This is not like you've been doing this for 5-10 years. It's 9 months.
And those of you who have not ever done it, it's not too late. You didn't miss the boat.
No, not
Jump in. Just do one. And if we can help you in any way, reach out, and we're happy to do it. Us too.
Yep. Just ask. Market like you consume.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing.
Yes,
so I truly believe in that.
All right, there you go. That's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Let us know if we can help you.